You wake up, and you find yourself standing in a room, a laboratory of sorts. The room is dim, and the walls are covered in a grotesque wallpaper of pale and pasty fleur-de-lis. Soon, the lights above you begin to flicker, giving life to not just this chamber, but 100 chambers beyond it. Indeed, you are trapped in the back halls. Hi, my name is James Ruth. I am the community manager of the Quelmar realm, and this is one of our many game tables across the country. This one makes extensive use of the Arkenforge Master's Toolkit, and after the latest updates, they've just included a huge piece of compatibility that makes my life easy and hopefully will make other people's lives easy when they take a look at this and see what you can do with it. And that is OSC integration, Open Sound Control. Open Sound Control is, it's a lot like a hotkey, except it is not limited by the number of combinations and buttons on your computer. It is a hotkey that you can have an infinite amount of. So what I've got here today, and I will be demoing for you, is a system composed of the Arkenforge Master's Toolkit, which I have running a game screen here. The game screen is also being shown over here on the bottom. It's a direct feed, so you can see what the players would be seeing if they were sitting here. Unfortunately, the terrible webcam I'm using doesn't quite have the ability to expose both the projection and the room. So look, I will let you know, I can see the room very clearly. All of the detail is just like you can see it on your screen. It just doesn't show up on camera, unfortunately. But I am using the Master's Toolkit in combination with an Elgato Stream Deck. You probably know what a Stream Deck is if you are ever on Twitch looking at anybody who does anything. It's a tool mostly used by streamers, but when used in combination with the Stream Deck companion software created by BitFocus, you can use the companion software and the Stream Deck and the Master's Toolkit together to create a immersive environment like you could never imagine for you and your players. And what do I mean by that? I mean this first and foremost. The Stream Deck and all of the software there doesn't only have the ability to communicate with the Master's Toolkit, so for instance, if I wanted to play some beautiful acoustic music through the Master's Toolkit, you can see on the direct feed of the Stream Deck, I have configured these OSC buttons, a whole bunch of them, hundreds of them, and they feed me directly to the library, the content library. They feed me to music tracks playlist. They feed me ambiances. They feed me sound effects. They can feed me any combination of those. I can do multiple of them at once if I wanted. But what you're also seeing today is the use of all of this with a Hue light system or any sort of Zigbee run light system, so you can communicate that way. So for instance, I am going to click on white, and I'm just going to show you. I can bring all the lights up real bright. I can turn them all off. We can get a real dim, spooky atmosphere where only the projection is the only light in the room. You can't really see me, but here I am. And with the combination of the master, let me give you some light. I'm gonna use my individual lamp control. What you're seeing is me going in and selecting individual lamps and turning them on. So if I just want this one, I can get a little. It's not as bright as I want. Let's see. Can I get you a little bit brighter? Let me turn you. I'll just do this. I'll just turn them all on. Sorry, I'm gonna try to do this in one take. Only because it's like midnight here, and I'm just really eager to show off what the system can do. So, the combination of sound and ambiances and map control in combination with light lets you do some really cool things. For example, under my main screen, I've got it split up. I can do music, ambiances, lights, sound effects, and Arken keys, which is what I'm calling the basic hotkeys. So for instance, if the players are looking at the battle map and they're looking at the table and they're like, oh, what kind of things are on that table? I can't tell. The Master's Toolkit, luckily for me, lets me just go in, zoom in, bring up that table nice and big, and they can take a closer look. And then I can obviously zoom out again. Zoom out. And then other buttons you can see here, I'll just demonstrate real quickly. You can hotkey the grid, so you can turn the grid on or off. Or maybe not. Ooh, did I find another bug? Let's take a look here. Grid on. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I needed to turn on full grid first. So yeah, so you can do grid off or grid on. Okay, no, maybe not. I will look further into that. Maybe grid's not ready yet. But we can do other things. We can ping. So I've got a ping hotkey, which will let me just pull up the ping real fast if I wanted to ping it. You can see all those pings going off. And then, of course, the Fog of War is a fun one. So I can click that button, and that puts us back in the immersion. Only what the characters can see, the player characters can see. And then the level up and down, which will let me go here. It will let me go up. This is not a map that's got a ton going on. But that does bring you up and down. Those are just some of the hotkeys I've got set. That's basic level Arkenforge hotkey. Now, if you are using the combination of all of this stuff, you can combine multiple things at once. And you can even use the software to create chains of events. So for example, if I go into my sound effects here, I've got one very special sound effect. You can probably see it's colored and it's got a logo. This has been set up to cue the explosion sound effect I have in Arkenforge, but also to cue the lights. So I will, let's turn off the music real fast so you can get a nice good listen here of the explosion. So as your wizard casts Fireball at 6th level, the room goes into flames. And suddenly, the players find themselves in this burning room. The lights flashing and dimming, the sound of the flares flaring up. All of this is just a combination of pulling up ambiances, sound effects, and hue light signals. And that sort of thing could be done for anything. Right now, because I've only broken into the system this week, I've only got the explosion set up, but in theory, hopefully soon, I'm going to be setting up spell effects. I'll be setting up blindness and all sorts of things for the players to experience. But let me just go ahead and show you a few more things. So if I go into the ambiances real fast, let me get you some light again. I'm just going to press a few buttons here to give us back our light. If I go into the ambiances, I can, for example, say the players were in this dungeon, and it was maybe it's sort of a castle dungeon. I can pull up that bit of ambience from the Master's Toolkit. And we get some of that sound, some of the rattling of the chains and the echo of the air reverberating through the chambers, that ominous sound. But because of the way ambiances work, soundscapes work, I can layer that, right? And all of these different buttons here layer in a new ambience. A lot of these come with the toolkit, which is incredible. So if, for some reason, maybe a flood was washing through this chamber, I can press the sloshing button, and suddenly you hear the sloshing, the water, as the players are now knee-deep trying to make their way through. I could add distant screaming on top of that. I don't hear any screams yet. Oh, I hear it. There's someone down here. Spook factor's just been elevated. And if you want to make it even spookier, I've got the mood ambiances on the bottom right here of the grid. These are fantastic. I layer these in as much as I can where I can. The sinister one, in particular, really seems to add to the atmosphere. If you want to really double down, you could add creepy and sinister. You could add tense. And it just gets worse, and it just gets worse. And if I wanted, I could go in, I could take down the lights. Maybe there's a blackout down here. And now suddenly it's quiet, or it's dim, and it's quiet, and nobody's making a sound, and all they can hear is the danger of the dungeon beyond them. The screams and the pain. Oh boy, you wouldn't want to be down there. But in just a few easy clicks, I can turn all of the sound off with the stop all sound effects, and I can bring the lights back up. Now it's not so creepy anymore. Just show you a few other things here. The music. I've got it set up so that if I want to start a battle, and I've got so many battle playlists, I don't know which one I want. Do I want the heavy metal? Do I want the synthwave? Do I want to pull up the stock Arkenforge music, which is great? I've got a button set up here that, thanks to the Stream Deck's ability to randomize a command, I click it and it sends one of like 8 different OSC commands. I don't know which one. Let's find out. Ooh, that is the... Look at our playlist. That is the horror battle. Oh, how ominous and appropriate. Battle music for a dungeon where the screaming just echoes off the walls forever. But, say I don't like that, I'll just press random battle again. It'll give me a new list and a new track from that list. This time, this is a good generic fantasy playlist that's got pulled up. And if I don't like it, I can always just stop it. I've got my stops and my plays, everything built in. Or if I don't like that song, I could do the next song. So yeah, so I can layer any sort of music with any of those ambiances as well. And I can layer any of that with sound effects. And sometimes the sound effects come with their own explosions of light themselves. As you can see, the possibilities are limitless when you have limitless hotkeys. Before, you were limited to the number of keys on your keyboard, and then the number of combinations with those keys, and then you were trying not to step on the hotkeys of other software or tools you were using, or the computer itself. You know, any hotkey with the Windows key is just basically out the door. Now you can have anything and everything. Every single music playlist pulled up, in addition to every single ambience and all of the ambiences inside of the ambiences. Do I want stables? Do I want streets, churches, markets? I could create desert. I could pull up the Sahara, and then I could go into city, and I could put a shipyard into Sahara. You can just overlay anything. And then sound effects are limitless as well. If I go into this folder here, I've got labeled spells. I don't have to just fiddle around and look for the right spell or search for it or anything. In 3 clicks, I'm here in a list of spells, and now the Bard is casting Bardic Inspiration. And then we all feel a little bit enlightened. Or that Thunder Wave, right? You can have it all at the tip of your finger whenever you want. 1, 2, 3, easy peasy. And then, of course, I have favorites as well. I've got a few playlists pulled up. This great investigation playlist I use for a Swords of the Serpentine campaign. That one's usually pretty spooky and ominous as they are searching the city, a city where everybody who dies becomes a ghost. It's a brilliant game system. If you haven't tried Swords of the Serpentine, I recommend it. And I guess that covers just about everything with this. I'm probably... Oh boy, game's really getting started now. Now I'm gonna probably put out a little more information about how I set this up soon, as well as how to do this without a Stream Deck. Stream Decks can be a little costly, and you can do the same thing with a MIDI pad. A MIDI pad doesn't have unlimited buttons like a Stream Deck might. It doesn't have pages and folders and such. But if you get a big enough one, like this one's got 64 buttons or so on it. And that'll give you a lot of shortcuts, a lot of ambiances, a lot of sound effects. And I used to use a MIDI pad forever because I could transfer a MIDI into a hotkey, like Control-Alt-K. But I was still limited by what I had available. I had to prioritize what I thought was important and what I wanted to have on hand at any point in time, and that's what we were stuck with. Now, the entire Arkenforge content library and the lights are now at your disposal, so you can create as immersive and illuminating a space as you want for your storytelling needs. It's incredible, and I am super thankful to Nathan and everybody who works on this. But it's now approaching a little past midnight, so I am going to send us off with let's say goodbye with a little sad music, and we'll send ourselves out into the woods. Let's see, good forest, night forest. I'll put down a campfire, and I will light that campfire with this candlelight preset, which will give us a little flickering dimness. And I'll take us away from this room and these dungeons, these halls. And I will say thank you again to the Arkenforge team. And I hope to see some amazing things come out of this new system. Not just on my end, but on everyone's end who uses this tool. Thank you, and good night.